herself crawling through the coarse grit, her uniform torn and stained with blood. Her heart pounded in rhythm with her ragged breaths, the weight of exhaustion pressing down on her shoulders. A sudden dust storm had separated her from the rest of her unit during a training exercise that had spiraled into a real-life emergency. Every step felt heavier than the last, and she could feel the onset of dehydration gnawing at her resolve. Somewhere in the distance, a faint sound reached her ears, boots crunching over sand. Hope flickered, only to fade as the sound receded. She called out, her voice hoarse, but only the wind answered. Her vision blurred, and she sank onto the sand, the world around her tilting into a haze of orange light and endless emptiness. For a moment, she allowed herself to imagine that no one would find her, that she might fade into this barren expanse unnoticed, forgotten. Then she heard it. A bark. Clear, sharp, and insistent. Her eyes widened, scanning the horizon, and through the rising dust, a figure emerged, a Navy SEAL in full gear, moving with purposeful strides. But what truly captured her attention was the creature beside him, a large Belgian Malinois, moving with uncanny precision and confidence. Its coat glistened in the desert sun, its eyes locked on hers with a focus that seemed almost human. "Lieutenant Harper," the SEAL called out, "hold on, we've got you." But even as he approached, it was the dog that made the first move. The K9 bounded over, carefully nudging her with its nose, sniffing the blood, assessing the injuries, and then settling beside her like a shield. The dog's presence was grounding, a reminder that she was not alone. Her panic began to ebb, replaced by a fragile thread of hope. The SEAL, whose name she learned was Jake Lawson, quickly assessed her injuries. "We need to get you out of here before the storm worsens," he said, his voice steady but tinged with concern. The dog, whom Jake called Rex, stayed close, circling her, letting out a soft whine whenever she flinched. In that moment, Sarah realized that Rex wasn't just a trained partner, he was a protector, a companion who understood the urgency of human vulnerability in ways words could not convey. The journey back to their extraction point was grueling. The storm intensified, turning the desert into a swirling canvas of sand and fury. Every step was a struggle, Sarah leaning heavily on Jake, Rex refusing to leave her side. At one point, she slipped, her ankle giving way on the shifting sand, and Rex reacted immediately, pressing his body against hers, preventing her from tumbling into the dunes. Jake helped her up, gratitude and awe etched across his face. Hours seemed to blur together. Thirst, exhaustion, and the biting wind tested them relentlessly, yet the bond forming between Sarah and Rex deepened with every passing minute. She found herself whispering to the dog, sharing her fears and regrets, and Rex responded with gentle nudges and reassuring barks, as if he understood every word. By the time they finally reached a small plateau where a helicopter could safely land, Sarah felt a profound sense of connection, not just to Jake and Rex, but to the resilience and kindness that can emerge in the harshest conditions. The evacuation was swift. Once aboard, Sarah was tended to by medics who marveled at her condition, noting that without Rex's intervention, her injuries could have been far worse. She watched as the dog sat calmly beside Jake, alert but relaxed, a silent guardian whose loyalty had transcended training. Days later, as she recovered in a military hospital, Sarah reflected on the ordeal. The desert had tested her, stripped her of confidence, and confronted her with the fragility of life. But in those moments of vulnerability, she had witnessed something extraordinary, an act of unwavering compassion from a creature whose instincts had guided her to safety. She realized that courage is not always about human heroics. Sometimes, it is about the quiet, steadfast presence of someone, or something, that refuses to let you face danger alone. When she finally returned home, she was greeted by friends, family, and colleagues. They asked about the rescue, the circumstances, and the heroism displayed. But Sarah's mind kept returning to Rex, the K9 whose devotion had saved her life. She arranged a visit to the SEAL unit's base, wanting to meet him again. When she walked into the training yard, Rex bounded toward her, tail wagging, eyes bright and full of recognition. She knelt down, tears pricking her eyes, and hugged the dog as if he were an old friend. Jake watched quietly, smiling, as Sarah whispered her gratitude. "You saved me," she said. "Both of you." Rex leaned into her embrace, and in that simple act, Sarah felt the deepest form of reassurance she had ever known. In the desert, Where everything seemed harsh and indifferent, she had found a love and loyalty that transcended species, a reminder that compassion can manifest in the most unexpected forms. The story of the desert rescue spread quickly, not just as a tale of survival, but as a testament to the power of kindness, loyalty, and courage. People were inspired by the partnership between human and canine, reminded that heroes can come in many forms, and that the smallest acts of devotion can leave the largest impact on our hearts. Sarah, for her part, carried the lesson with her, that in moments of despair, the bond between beings, human or otherwise, can light a path to hope, and that sometimes, the bravest acts are not those of fighting, but of standing steadfast beside someone in need. Years later, Sarah would return to the desert, not as a victim, but as a mentor, guiding new recruits in the art of resilience and teamwork. And always, Rex was there, now older but no less vigilant, a living reminder that courage and compassion often walk paw in hand. The desert had taken much from her, but it had also given a gift beyond measure, the understanding that true heroism is measured not in glory or medals, but in the selfless acts that touch the hearts of others and leave the world a little brighter than before. And in every story she told of that day, one truth remained. Sometimes, it is the quiet, unwavering loyalty of a friend, four-legged or two, that saves us when we need it most. In the end, Sarah Harper didn't just survive the desert, she emerged transformed, carrying with her the enduring warmth of a bond that had stolen her heart and reminded her that humanity, in all its forms, is capable of extraordinary grace.